Welcome to my Get Ready With Me video for today. I'm also going to be talking about always being the host, regardless of whether you are the host or you're not the host. In the meantime, if you want to make comments, I do try to respond to them, but mostly I'm going to be going through this concept and hope that it has an impact, that it makes a difference for someone else, that it makes sense. So I am currently doing my skincare. So today we're going to be doing skincare as well as makeup because I have an interview in 25 minutes. I'm interviewing a woman about her project that she created after her brother died to support mental health. And so I'll be interviewing her for my podcast and for my new show, The Lisa Lacroix Show, which is going to be launching in about a month or so. I also want to share this concept of be the host because most of us are waiting for someone else to welcome us. Most of us, even adults, and I told this to my kids as they were growing up and even as they were teenagers, if you feel outside because you're waiting for someone else to welcome you, and guess what? They're probably waiting for you to say hi first too. So this concept is something that occurred to me when I experienced, this is a long time ago, I'm going to say almost 20 years ago, when I was joining a business networking group. Hi, Deborah. I was joining a business networking group in the city I just moved to, and I was excited to go to this meeting for the very first time and meet new people and support their businesses and have mine supported as well. At the time I was a new coach. And I showed up at the meeting and there were 10 people sitting around a table and no one said hello to me. I sat down in the room and I looked around and waited as they continued their conversation, and no one said, "Hi, you're new, welcome." And it occurred to me in that moment how common it is, even for adults, even for experienced adults, even for adults out in the world who have success and businesses and jobs that they're responsible for, how rare it is for us to take responsibility for being the one who reaches out first and says, "Hi, I haven't met you before. Nice to meet you. I'm Lisa." Hi, Gift. Thanks for being here. So I just finished doing my makeup remover, which I do night and morning. And now I'm doing my vitamin C serum, which there's a couple products that I always use. So while I'm doing this content on being the host as a concept, as an organizational concept, as a concept for anyone who's a part of a group, to make sure that that group stays robust, to make sure that group is a place where people want to be. While I do that, I'm doing my skincare. So this is my vitamin C serum. Hi, Maggie. Thanks for being here. Thanks for saying hi. I appreciate you. It's not just kids. It's not just teenagers who feel challenged by being in a new situation with new people. And so no matter whether you are the host or not, if you are in a group situation, whether it is a party or a business meeting or a networking group or a dance community or a group of friends, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, always act like you are the one responsible for welcoming people in, for making sure they have someone else to talk to introduce them to someone that they might not know, to orient them in the conversation they might be joining, to make sure they know where the food or drink is. The power of being the host is that you build your community in a way that people want to be there because they feel welcome. You've heard that expression where Maya Angelou says, people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they will not forget how you made them feel. If you take responsibility for hosting someone as they show up to the event that you're a part of, whether you are the host or not, they will remember you. So it goes a long way to building the community in a way that's a place where people want to be. It has an impact on how people experience you, and you do that person a favor because most of us are sitting there waiting for someone else to say hello. They're waiting for someone else to introduce us. They're waiting for the host to show up and say, "I'm glad you're here." So be that host. Be the host whether you are the host or not, because what's common is people feel the responsibility if they are the host. But how many people take responsibility for that when they are not the host? And so many situations don't have an official host. So if you're part of a networking group or you're part of a community of practice, of any type of practice, if you're always the one taking responsibility, you're building a culture of inclusiveness. You're building a culture where people feel welcome. You're building a culture where people feel a part of. And one of the most difficult experiences that human beings have is a sense of being outside, of being other. And it doesn't matter whether there's someone who looks confident, whether there's someone who looks like they're a part of the group. Almost all human beings have the experience of wanting to be brought in, wanting to be included, and to some degree feeling outside of the situation. So wherever you can relieve that, you'll be doing the world a favor, you'll be doing that person a favor, and you will be representing yourself and your community in a way that communicates positivity. So be the host, no matter whether you are or not, wherever you go, every day, all the time. The beautiful thing about this concept, especially for people who are more introverted or shy, people who don't know, the people who are the ones who are most likely to be sitting back waiting to be welcomed are the ones for whom this is the best strategy ever, because it gives you something active to do. If you are shy, if you have difficulty with small talk, if you don't know how to do a social approach with people, if you don't know how to find the way in, taking on the role of being the host gives you something to do. Imagine if you experienced every group situation you are in from the perspective of who needs to be brought in here, who is feeling alone, who is waiting for a welcome, and you took it on yourself to walk over to that person and say, I haven't seen you before. Obviously you're new here, or are you new here? I'd like to introduce you to a couple other people. Do you know John? Hey, John, this is so-and-so, they're new. When you take on that responsibility, you give yourself something to do. So I say this is an even more powerful skill for people who see themselves as shy or introverted. Jimmy, hey from LA. Slapaho, Texas. Can inclusion be a way to keep the weak weak? Can inclusion be a way to keep the weak weak? I have no idea what that means. That does not resonate with me at all. Seems to me that inclusion is a way to create solidarity. It's a way to interact with people. It's a way to create connections. I don't really see anything that keeps anybody down from that or keeps anybody weak from that. So maybe if you say a little bit more, I'll understand what you're talking about. But no, I think inclusiveness, welcoming, being positive, being friendly, helping people to feel that they are necessary and important and seen can only be positive. I hold a very high value on how you show up, and what you say, even in the comments, makes a difference. It impacts me, it impacts the other people in the live here right now. And so pay radical attention to what kind of energy you bring to a live that you're in, just like you would in a room that you walked into. We have an impact by the things that we do, say, write, text, and all the energies that we communicate. And so I'm going to invite everyone to take that on, because to me this is a place, this is a space where we are hanging out together. Just being friendly to others keeps me out of my own head. Oh, Jimmy, exactly, that's exactly right. Is we can be so, especially in a difficult social situation or a place where we might feel new or uncomfortable, we can tend to be somewhat self-conscious, especially if we're shy or introverted. So if we pay attention to others and be friendly to others, even if it is as simple as saying, hi, it's so nice to see you. I haven't met you before. My name is Lisa, goes such a long way. I had an audio podcast I did 132 episodes over the course of about 2.5, 3 years. And now I'm changing my audio podcast to be a video show. So I just started doing some recordings with people who have interesting stories to tell. My previous podcast was called the Superpower You Podcast, and it was long-form interviews with mostly women, a few men, about the superpower behind their success. The concept was that we all have something that we are especially good at, that we don't even notice because it comes so naturally to us, but that skill set shows up in our lives across the board, regardless of the age or the stage. There's been some way that particular skill set, that is our superpower, has played a role. And if you look back at everything you've done in your life, there's probably something for you where you've had a skill set that you've drawn on. For me, for example, I believe my superpower is creating connections between people and ideas. And so I can see that in almost everything that I've done in my life as a central through line. I mean, there are other ones too, like mastery, change, growth, things like that. But I believe that there's one deep skill, deep strength that we all have that probably has been in us since we were children that continues to show up in our lives. And in my long form conversations with people on my podcast, the intent would be to shine a light on all the things that they're doing in their work in the world, and then to identify and name that superpower behind their success. And if you want to think about what your superpower is, you might think about it in terms of that skill set or strength that has been with you your entire life, regardless of the age or the stage, that is so natural to you that it's like the water you swim in or the air you breathe. And then if someone points it out to you, you might think nothing of it and say, oh, that, what do you mean that? Because you think everyone has that skill because it is so natural to you. If you can't figure out what yours is, you can ask other people to give you some reflections, describe this concept of a superpower to them and say, what do you think mine could be? Kayla says, I'm an encourager. I just don't know how to make a career out of it. Ooh, well, I would say that the superpower of being an encourager is a strength that can benefit you regardless of what your career is, and again, the age or the stage. The career you do is the one that you're called to, that says, this is something I can make money at, this is something that I love, this is something that I have a strength, and then you bring that superpower to whatever career it is you pick. So if you're, say, a police officer, but your superpower is being an encourager, then you're probably going to be one of the most encouraging, supportive, positive police officers on the force. If you decide that your desired career is being owning a restaurant, then you're going to create a culture in that restaurant where people come and they feel encouraged and supported and affirmed. So that's the beautiful thing about a superpower, is that you take it with you wherever you go. And the more you know it, the more you name it, the more you claim it, the more you can build on it and use it as a foundation for everything. Thank you for being here, everyone who's jumping in. So if you're just joining, today I'm doing a get ready. I'm tending to do get ready with me's on Monday and then using that for my content for the rest of the week. Today I'm doing a get ready with me with the concept of being the host and talking about the concept of being the host and why, when you're in a situation that is either new to you or even a community that you're a regular participant in, that if you always, and if everyone in the group always took on being the host, that the community would be a different place altogether. And I emphasize this over and over again, and I'm thinking about it again now because some of the communities I'm in don't have this as a culture. And I try my best to bring the concept of being the host, whether I'm one teeny little speck, meaningless speck in that community, or whether I'm leading the community. And it's best if the people who are leading the community model the concept of being the host first, because then it spills down to everyone else. But even if the leaders of the community are not creating a culture of being the host, anyone who's in the community can do it and can create a powerful way of being in the space. But if the leaders model being the host, you're going to have a kick-ass community where people feel tightly included and highly invested in that community. So wherever possible, if you're in a leadership role, if you can model and even name and encourage the idea of everyone being the host, regardless of the position, you're going to go a long way to building a stronger community. Let's see, Kayla's saying, I feel that I was an EMT, phlebotomist, cashier, sales consultant, manager. I love that. And you see that everywhere. That's what I love about the concept of superpower, is the essence of the power is always there. Kayla says, I want to write a book or speak publicly or do makeup or be a doctor. You know what? I love it. I have a total ADHD brain. I'm super creative. I have many ideas. I always have 10 projects happening at one time. And I used to believe this cultural narrative that you have to be focused and have a niche and have one pointed focus, and there's no way you can multitask. But I don't believe it anymore. I believe, as someone with an ADHD-like brain that's extremely creative and a multi-potentialite who can do a lot of things, maybe not as well as if I just focused on one thing for 25 years. But little by little, I build my skill set, especially with the grounding and foundation of my superpower at the base of it. And I follow my desire, and I do the things that I love in ways that I think I can contribute, with my desire to bring people together and bring ideas together into a cohesive thing. And by doing that as the focus, it doesn't matter whether the form factor takes a different shape. I've been a film and television actor. I've been a life and business coach. I'm a speaking coach right now and a content creator. I'm a dancer, I'm a mother, a sister, a daughter. And if I can bring my natural skill set and my superpower to everything that I do, then I get better little by little at all of them. And then the essence of who I am is always there. The form factor doesn't matter. Because, what our business is doesn't really matter. Hi, Louie, long time no see. Nice to see you. Kayla, how do you make a career out of it? I think you pick the career that is something you love. I'd look at the triad of what you're good at, what you love, and what can make a difference in the world in a way that people would pay you for it, and look for the overlap in between those things. You need help. Struggle with anxiety and depression. Yeah, you are not alone in that, girl. You are not alone. So many people are struggling with that right now. It's part of our culture, and it's something that we have to deal with because we have so much stimulation coming at us all the time. Our nervous systems were not built to have as much stimulation coming at us as quickly and consistently as it does in our world. And so no wonder our nervous systems are wrangled and jangled and we feel anxiety. So embodiment practices go a long way. Journaling is super helpful. Do some breath work practices. Whatever it is we're doing, whether it's running or exercising or speaking, and I teach this in my speaking skills, whatever it is we're doing, if we approach it in a way that is regulating to our nervous system, we can shift that anxiety piece. Most people think that in order to start speaking and dealing with nerves, we have to first calm ourselves. We have to first get relaxed. We have to first breathe and be ready before we start speaking. And what happens is people get themselves all calm and then they open their mouth and then they get anxious. So I believe that we start speaking exactly where we are. And if we realize that, for example, I realize I'm talking quickly, right? Because I get excited. When I realize it, I can shift the way in which I'm speaking. Just like someone can shift the way in which they're running. They realize they're tense and they're running and they have a lot of pressure and anxiety as they're running. And then they start to let themselves fall. You can shift the energetic with which you do anything in a way that has an impact on your nervous system and that calms you. So it's a matter of how we do things that make a difference. Hey, Andrea, how's it going? Thank you for the compliments. IB Shul. Louis says, that's it exactly. My career is no career. Turn my passions into income streams, so going to work. Oh, you're an inspiration, Louis. That's awesome. All right, I am just about out of time because I have to jump on to do an interview. You could YouTube it. YouTube it. Whatever it is, you certainly could YouTube it. Because you can YouTube everything. Please join my YouTube channel. Most of my short form content's on TikTok, and I'm building out YouTube as my long form platform. So if you can join me there, I'd really appreciate it. I love comments. They help me a lot in building my channel. So if you're willing, I would love it. Okay, I'm going to do my lipstick, and then I'm going to jump off. So this is the chance. If you can, if you're not following me, please follow me. I mostly talk about artful aging and speaking skills, specifically targeted for women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, but the same skills apply to everyone. So if you're not in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, and if you're not a woman, you are still welcome to join me there and to use some of the speaking skills I share. And then Artful Aging, they're specifically designed, and the thinking is specifically targeted for women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, because I believe we have so much value to bring to the world, and that we are an underrepresented, underacknowledged, and a little too invisible group of people. So really work to serve that community. But the principles of Artful Aging are basically the principles of Artful Living. So feel free to join us there. All right. So please follow me if you're not already. I share content almost every day on some of the many topics. Those are the primary ones. I also talk about ADHD and masculine feminine polarity as it applies to speaking and also to embodiment. We're going to change all the narratives, all the structures that are in place that need shifting. And one of the best ways we can do it is to become empowered, to take up space, to find our stories and find our voice, and to get wealthy. So that's my vision for myself. That's my vision for you. Please follow me here. Have a beautiful day. And thank you so much for spending some time here with me. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a beautiful day.